What's better than blasting enemies in the face with a fireball wand? Double fisting fireball wands.
Welcome back to the Mythic Hammer. Today we're talking about wands, not staves, not magic sticks, not the current, technically wizardish situation we've all accepted because the game is so damn fun anyway. I'm talking about real, one-handed, Harry Potter-style wands. The kind that make you feel like a wizard on purpose. So let's hammer out the details. Right now, the mage fantasy is uneven. We do have staves that try to scratch that itch, and a couple of them can absolutely be strong in the right hands. Ice gets talked about like it's the default good staff, and healing, if used a certain way, can get into territory that feels straight up game-breaking. The kind of thing where a player can support and resurrect through geometry and rooms, and basically turn a hard dungeon into a guided tour. It's powerful, it's useful, and it's also a giant flashing sign that says the magic toolkit is still missing its intended shape. And then you've got the rest of the staves: Force, Shockwave, Chrono, Gravity, Fireball, and the Melee staff, which, let's be honest, is less mage fantasy and more I brought a staff to a sword fight, and now I regret my life choices. If they renamed it Stick, nobody would even argue. Now layer on the side weapon situation. We've got side slots, and the side weapon category is basically sword, dagger, axe, hammer. That's it. 4 options, and they're all variations of hit it or throw it. So the core pitch for wands is simple. One-handed wands expand side weapon variety, and they complete the wizard fantasy, if they're done in a way that fits DOE's speed, physicality, and flow. That, if done correctly, part matters. Because I've seen the other common suggestion, the whole tome and wand combo, from other dungeon crawlers. And look, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying it's not a DOE idea. It tends to slow combat down. It turns the side weapon slot into, effectively, a two-handed weapon slot. It would also make movement harder, and Dungeons of Eternity is not a stand there and cast game. It's a move, dodge, react, improvise, and occasionally scream, because a skeleton clipped your hip through your guard game. So, wands, in DOE, should feel like a weapon you can sling into the fight without breaking your momentum. Here's the mechanical vision. Wands charge with the trigger, just like the mythic weapons. Then activate with a dagger-throwing style motion. You don't throw the wand, you throw the spell. You charge, you flick, you send a projectile exactly where your hand aims. No aim assist, none. If you want to be a wizard, you have to earn it with actual aim and timing, like the bow and crossbow. That's where the skill ceiling comes from. That's where the replayability comes from. Mechanically, they should be budgeted like crossbows. Same philosophy, same perk logic. If you introduce multi-shot, you budget damage per shot down. You want 3 charges, cool. Each one hits lighter. You want a single, chunky bolt of magic, cool. Slower cadence, higher impact. That's how you keep this from becoming power creep. Now let's talk about the real fun part. Elemental imbues. Because this is where wands stop being new thrown weapon and start being new playstyles. Fire first, because fire is the baseline, and it should be the one pure DPS wand. Simple fire wand shoots a fast, satisfying fireball. On hit, damage and maybe a tiny burn tick. No crowd control, no gimmicks, just clean, reliable damage. And the damage should land around the same ballpark as a non-imbued dagger of the same quality. Because that keeps it honest. If fire is the I want damage choice, then it becomes the wand you pick when you don't want to mess around. Pure wizard aggression. Ice Wand. This one should lean into control, not raw damage. Your ice projectile hits, and you get a short freeze, like the ice effects we already understand in the game's ecosystem. Not a full, you are frozen forever, and the room is trivial now, but enough that you can set up a kill, interrupt a push, or create breathing room in co-op. Ice is the wand you pull out when the room is getting crowded and you need to stabilize. Poison Wand. And yes, poison isn't currently a staff fantasy that's fully expressed the way people want. So, as a wand imbue, poison should be about disruption. I love the idea of a brief sleep or staggered days style effect. Something short, something tactical. Hit a skeleton and it goes slack for a moment. Not an eternity, just long enough to punish it, reposition, or save a teammate. Poison could also apply a small damage over time, but the identity should be control through disruption, not green fireball equals more DPS. Force Wand. This is your knockback wizard. This wand doesn't need huge damage, it needs authority. You tag an enemy, and they get shoved back. Period. Not across the whole map. Not into orbit, but enough to break pressure and reset spacing. Force is for when you're getting boxed in, or when your melee teammate is about to get dogpiled, and you want to buy them a second to breathe. It's also hilarious, and DOE thrives on hilarious but useful. Chrono Wand. This is where you can get very DOE specific. Chrono shouldn't just be slow, it should be time is a weapon. The simplest version is a slow debuff on hit. Enemy moves like they're underwater for a moment. But the wishlist version, the fun version, a tiny rewind snap on non-boss enemies. Hit them, and they jerk back a step or two, like you stole a half-second of their future. You're not deleting enemies, you're interrupting their rhythm. Chrono becomes the make the room easier without making it free wand. Gravity Wand. This one should feel like the most wizardy wand in the game. Hit an enemy, and they get a short, zero-gravity lift, just enough to remove them from the pressure for a moment. Or they get pinned low, like gravity doubled for half a second. The point is, gravity manipulates the battlefield. It's crowd control that looks and feels magical. And in co-op, gravity is a setup tool. Your teammate sees the lift, lines up the strike, and you get those perfect team highlight kills. Shockwave Wand. This one is your stun and your panic button. A short shock stun on hit, or even a small splash radius if you want it to feel distinct. This wand is for the oh no moment, when 3 enemies are in your face, and you need a moment to reset. It's not meant to be a constant lockdown weapon. It's meant to create that tiny window where skill and movement take over. And then there's the one wand type that can create a totally new playstyle, the Healing Wand. Healing in DOE is already strong, sometimes too strong. So if we're talking healing wands, you have to be careful. But the opportunity here is huge, because a healing wand can shift healing from passive sustain into active support skill. Here's the design. Healing wands fire and recharge like other wands, but they do little to no damage to enemies. Their value is in hitting teammates with a healing charge. You have to aim it, you have to land it, and that instantly turns healing into something you do with intention, not just something that happens because you exist in the dungeon and are good at targeting through walls and conserving gems. And to make the healing wand feel like a true support identity, holding a healing wand increases your resurrection range and decreases your resurrection cast time. Not revive from 2 rooms away through a wall, but I'm a medic and I can do my job faster when I'm set up to do it. That creates a playstyle that's currently missing. The active healer who's participating, aiming, positioning, saving runs, not just topping off bars. Now, gameplay impact. DPS wands, by design, shouldn't break combat. They're essentially a new thrown weapon category with cooler flavor and better wizard identity. The real impact comes from the control wands and the healing wand, because those change how rooms play out. Control wands create tempo. They let a group manage space without turning every fight into a freeze lock. They create skillful save moments. They create new builds. They make underused magic identities actually show up in runs. And from a build diversity perspective, this is the whole point. Players would finally have a reason to use those magic types that rarely see meaningful play. Not because the staff is suddenly broken, but because the wand form factor makes it convenient and fun. Dungeon flow matters too. Wands fit the DOE rhythm because they don't require you to stop being a DOE player. You're still moving, you're still dodging, you're still firing off your weapons. The wand just adds a different flavor to your choices. And the style factor is obvious. Dual-wielding wands is the kind of thing that creates clips. It creates kill of the weak moments on its own. It's visually readable, it's flashy, and it's instantly wizard fantasy. Now, downsides, because we're not doing the delusional wishlist thing where we pretend balance isn't real. If wand recharge is too fast, you'll get spam, and spam ruins spacing and difficulty. If healing wand range and res buffs are too generous, you'll recreate the most exploitative parts of healing, just in a new wrapper. So the tuning has to be strict, the cooldowns have to be honest, the crowd control durations have to be short and tactical, and bosses, obviously, need resistances or reduced effect windows, so you're not stun-locking a big target like it's a training dummy. But those are tuning problems, not design problems. So that's the pitch. One-handed wands, accessible from the start. Skill-based aiming, no aim assist. Balanced like crossbows. Elemental imbues that create real tactical identity. Fire for DPS, ice for freeze control, poison for disruption, force for knockback, Chrono for tempo manipulation, gravity for battlefield control, shockwave for stuns and resets, and healing wands that create a truly active support role without letting healing become an exploit again. Now I want to hear from you. If wands were added tomorrow, what's the first one you're farming for? Are you going full DPS, Fire Wizard? Are you going control and turning every room into your personal spell laboratory? Or are you going healer and becoming the teammate everyone quietly prays for in Tier 7 hazard runs? And here's the real question. Would you run one wand, or would you double fist them and fully commit to the chaos? Drop your wish list ideas below. What did I forget? What would be game-breaking? What would be hilariously broken? But in a way, we all secretly want anyway. What's on your wish list? Leave your ideas below. Stay tuned for the kill of the week. And as always, keep it mythic.
Kill of the week.